Welcome to another Control Point Information series. Today we're going to work through what is a policy. So a policy is, as we've talked about before, is the action or the doing process. So once you've found certain things in a repository or that match a certain category, it's then the what do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep it? Do you want to move it to Content Manager? Do you want to delete it? Do you want to put a hold on it? Do you want to archive it? It's effectively the doing phase. They can be single or multi-phase policies. They can have review steps if required, and the demonstration will go through one of those shortly. There's a number of templates out of the box, so delete with review, without review, move to Content Manager, move to an archive file share, or retain in place. And you can actually automate policies to information, so literally have them automatically apply once certain criteria is met. So we talked earlier about having repositories in a managed state. This is where you could literally find credit card files, move them to a secure location, and have that automatically happening without any sort of human intervention. So, as we said, going to go through some policies today. I've created a couple of policies in advance here just to show you some of the types of ones, and there's plenty of endless opportunity or endless possibilities of what you could create. Effectively, these are just some. So, I've got some here that I'm going to archive after they've been 10 years after the modification date. I've got some declare job descriptions, so I'm trying to find job descriptions and automatically declare them into the system. Could be something around credit card information or PII. Again, plenty of different options you can come up with. It's just about trying to figure out what you're trying to achieve and with what sort of content that you're looking for. We've got one here, delete with review. So if we have a look at this one, this is the actual policy summary page, similar to the other summary pages in repositories and categories. It gives you some high-level information. Again, for this one, we're actually disposing or we're deleting with review. We can see here that 28 of these have actually been assigned. So what this means is there's 28 documents that have been assigned with this policy, and over here on the right, 2 have actually been executed. So we've got a number of them sitting there waiting for someone to do something with, and 2 have actually been deleted in this example. Lots of different intervals, again, you can look through as well, but for the one we're doing at the moment, this is applicable. Now we have a look here, we've got policy items. Now policy items we'll go through, and this is where we can actually review this. So you could actually get the business to actually assign the policies themselves, and then have someone like an information manager or someone in the governance or legal team actually review to see if these policies are fit for these documents, sort of as a semi sort of workflow process. So at the moment here, we've got 26 sitting and waiting for review. So in this one, we actually have a review step. You don't have to have a review step. We find a lot of customers though, especially when they're doing, I suppose, a delete with review for the first time, or they're, going through a processing, they do want to review the work before, executing it and deleting it. So that balance of defensible disposition. So what I can do here is I can actually go through and tag a number of items. I could look at documents if I wanted to. If I thought that, this document is a corporate record, I could actually view it and change my mind. But effectively, if I just wanted to review some of these documents, I can actually go up to the actions menu. From there, I've got 3 different options that I can choose. So I can actually approve this and it will actually go through and be deleted. I can reject this policy, so then effectively it will say no. And then I can actually remove the policy as well. Now I'm going to approve this policy. Now what's going to happen here is that's going to be applied to those 3 documents, and behind the scenes Control Point will be going to find those documents, go and see if they're still available, that no one's actually editing them, and making sure that they're actually still available to be deleted, and then will actually be executed and deleted at a later point as well. Now having a look inside what a policy looks like, we're just editing one here at the moment. You can give it a name, you can give it a description. Here are a number of phases that we talked about before. So this is just a very simple dispose phase. Having a look at this one again, there's a number of actions. Now this will make more sense as you go through the Control Point journey, but you might have a different or a number of actions that you actually want to apply to certain documents or to do certain functions once you actually have some, I suppose, better use cases in those examples. You can actually go through and have a look at some of the settings. So some policies you might actually not want to apply or execute in that space. You can actually schedule them as well. So similar to repositories that can, they run on schedules, same with policies. So if you want a policy to be at a high schedule, it will run obviously more on a high frequency, and obviously down to low, which would run at every 24 hours. You can also have them a part of a compliance policy as well. So this just allows you to actually look about how compliant you are. It'll take a while to get there, especially if you're looking at some unstructured information on shared drives. But again, it lets you sort of have an indication of what your compliancy is at a point in time. A good one for this is actually thinking of credit cards. So if you're scanning network drives and EDRMSs and actually saying, well, we don't have any credit cards sitting in our organization, you could actually effectively use that as a compliance policy to see how that's going. You also have a priority again, so because as you saw on the first page, I have lots of different policies. Each one of these can have different priorities, so you can give them, A before B, B before C, so you can actually start to give them some weighting within that. You can also even get a policy approver email, so this could be one or many people. So if you've got, say, your information governance or your records team or your IT team that have to assign or approve certain policies, they'll get an email and a trigger to actually say, hey, I've got some policies ready to approve, and it will actually prompt them to do so. The other option, which is really handy, is you can actually assign policies to categories. So we've gone through categories in a previous video, but this is effectively saying that as part of a category, if there's certain things that are met, so for example, let's say I'm finding HR documents. So I've got a category that I've found HR documents, then the policy is to automatically move them into Content Manager, into the HR application folders or wherever you wanted to within Content Manager. And by doing so, this is where you can actually get it onto autopilot. So we talked before about repositories being in a managed state, in that Nirvana state. So what this would do is effectively, if users are dropping documents on a shared drive and control points looking at that shared drive, one of those documents or a multitude of those documents are HR documents, it will flag those, notice that, and apply the policy to move it into Content Manager automatically. And if you didn't have a review step in that would automatically just keep applying every time that the repository is getting scanned. And this is where some of the I suppose the real value is. Once you clean up your actual shared drives, once you get to identifying and getting some value very quickly and a good ROI, then you can actually set control point onto autopilot a little bit and actually start to move documents through different examples or look for certain content and automatically act. And once you've done it once right, then you can just let it go from there. Thanks for watching everything about policies.